In the annals of Nigerian history, few moments are as charged with the weight of what if as the Aburi Accord. Imagine Nigeria in 1967, a nation teetering on the brink of self-destruction. The map of the country looked different then, with the eastern region, home to a large Igbo population, seething with unrest following a series of brutal pogroms. It was in this volatile atmosphere that a final desperate attempt was made to hold the fracturing nation together. This was the Aburi Accord, a pivotal last-ditch effort to prevent a catastrophic civil war, a conversation that could have changed everything, but instead became the prelude to tragedy. The setting was Aburi, a serene town in Ghana, far from the rising tensions in Nigeria. In January 1967, the key players met. Lieutenant Colonel GUWON, the head of the federal military government, and Lieutenant Colonel OJUKWU, the military governor of the eastern region. For a brief moment, there was a glimmer of hope. The negotiations, though tense, seemed productive. OJUKWU, representing a people who felt persecuted and unsafe, argued passionately for a system that would grant significant autonomy to the regions. The agreement reached was for a more confederal system of government, a loose federation where the regions would have greater control over their own affairs. On paper, it seemed like a breakthrough, a consensus that acknowledged the deep divisions and offered a path back from the precipice. The leaders left Aburi seemingly in agreement, with OJUKWU famously stating, "On Aburi we stand." However, the spirit of Aburi quickly evaporated upon their return to Nigeria. The accord, which had seemed so clear in Ghana, became a subject of conflicting interpretations. The core of the disagreement lay in the degree of regional autonomy. OJUKWU believed the accord established a confederation, where the regions were nearly sovereign entities, delegating limited powers to a weak central government. He saw this as the only way to guarantee the safety of his people. GUWON and his advisors in Lagos, however, feared that such a structure would effectively dissolve the Nigerian Federation. They interpreted the accord as a call for decentralization, but not the disintegration of central authority. This fundamental misunderstanding was formalized when GUWON promulgated Decree No. 8. While he claimed it embodied the spirit of Aburi, OJUKWU saw it as a complete betrayal, a unilateral rewriting of their agreement that re-centralized power and negated the autonomy they had negotiated for. The promise of peace was shattering. With the collapse of trust, the path to war became tragically inevitable. The differing viewpoints were irreconcilable, and both sides began to prepare for the worst. The federal government in Lagos saw OJUKWU's insistence on the original Aburi terms as a move towards secession. In the East, the perception was that the federal government had negotiated in bad faith and was unwilling to provide the security guarantees necessary for the region to remain in Nigeria. Tensions escalated rapidly, diplomatic channels closed, replaced by military build-ups and inflammatory rhetoric. The creation of 12 new states by GUWON, a move that broke up the eastern region, was the final straw. It was seen by OJUKWU as a deliberate act to weaken the East and seize its oil-rich lands, destroying the very basis of the region's power and viability. The failure of the Aburi Accord stands as a monumental tragedy in Nigerian history. It was the moment the dialogue died, the last off-ramp before the highway to war. On May 30th, 1967, OJUKWU, seeing no other option, declared the independence of the Republic of Biafra. The federal government's response was swift and decisive, a police action to crush the rebellion. This action would spiral into a brutal 30-month civil war, resulting in the deaths of over 1 million people. The tragic failure of the Aburi Accord serves as a somber lesson on the catastrophic cost of failed diplomacy and the profound difficulty of bridging divides once they have been carved by fear and mistrust.